Making a friend is like picking seashells from a beach. You're always going to find something very surprising. It was my first day in grade 4 in this brand new school. I was walking down the hallway as I remembered my mom's advice to say hello to everybody new. In the classroom doorway, I see a little boy with curly hair, red shirt, khaki shorts, and neon green Crocs covered with stickers. He is staring blankly down the corridor. I said, "Hello," and the woman who was holding his hand leans down and says, "Wave." With a spark of confidence, the boy squeaks, "Hi," and then bolts into the classroom. "Hi, I'm Jack's therapist. Jack, he has autism. He's been nonverbal till the last month. Saying hi to you is tremendous progress." Wow. As the bell rings, I sit in the back of the classroom, watching the kids pile in. Jack's therapist guided him to the seat beside me. I smile, and to my surprise, Jack smiles back. The beginning of a new kind of friendship. In the next few weeks, I observed Jack and his therapist. When he was agitated, she would pat his hands and rub his shoulders. When I wanted to talk with him, she reminds me, ask yes or no questions so he could nod instead of speak. I also went on to YouTube videos that taught me how to communicate better with people with autism. About 2 weeks later, I was hanging out with my 2 girlfriends, Mary and Fiona. And from afar, I saw Jack running towards me. I thought that this is a great chance to include him in our friendship group and let my 2 friends have a different kind of friend. So, as I waved for Jack to join us, I reminded them, ask yes or no questions. I started first. "Jack, you like vanilla ice cream, yes or no?" Jack stares at us blankly. Then Mary asks, "Jack, you like chocolate ice cream, yes or no?" He looks at us and then nods. Finally, Fiona asks, "Jack, what did you do on your last weekend?" "What? That's not a yes or no question." Jack was trying his best to talk, disjointed sounds. Remembering a YouTube video I watched, I dig around in my backpack for some pen and paper, handing them to the 4 of us. And now, we're laughing, we're nodding, and we're drawing our beautiful weekend lives in different colors. Suddenly, a soccer ball whizzes past us, hitting the metal fence behind. Dong! Everything changed. Jack's mouth turned down. He was not impressed. Sounds were coming out of him and they were incoherent. We girls didn't know what to do. We were looking at one another, asking, "What's up? What's up?" Suddenly, Mary snapped, "I'll go get his therapist." Thinking about that, I patted his hands and rubbed his shoulders. And I watched as his features began to relax. Now it has been more than 3 years since the soccer ball whizzed by. And naturally, me and Jack separated into different classes. Sometimes, I would still see him at recess time playing with a bunch of friends he found in his new class. We would still see one another every day, but that was only true until COVID came and online classes started. It was not until last month that I heard Jack moved away to another city. I was so sad that I didn't get to say proper goodbye to him, and I would miss him very much. Also because of COVID-19, I got another connection problem. This time, it is with my own grandma. My grandma is almost 80 years old, and she lives halfway across the planet in Shanghai. We would video call every week, and then she would speak of stories from long, long ago. Then she would pop up some weird questions. "Shine, Did you know in the 1960s, people used bricks shaped like honeycombs to power their heaters? Bricks, honeycombs, powering your heaters. I'm sorry, Grandma, but that just doesn't make sense. One day, this situation happened again, and when we said bye, Grandma, at the end of the call, my mom began to question me. Shine? Really? Sitting there doing nothing? Mom, how am I supposed to connect with her when all she keeps on talking about are the stories from decades before I was even born? Well, Shine, if you could make friends with Jack, you should come up with something to say with your own grandma. She was right. But my grandma's in China. I can't pat her hands and rub her shoulders, so I ought to think of another way. I decided that learning more about my grandma was my way to connect better with her. So I searched online for some articles, some films, photos, and videos about the people of my grandma's generation. And I learned a lot about their living conditions, their needs and wants, and even their everyday life. And yes, I found out what the weird thing that my grandma was talking about was. It's something called briquettes, and long ago people used them to power their heaters. The other day, I found a picture of a self-made bamboo man toy that fascinated many kids of my grandma's childhood. And when I showed it to Grandma on our weekly phone call, she almost jumped up in her chair in excitement. Hey, I played that before. I even made one myself. It is a lot of fun. You see? I'm the one that's leading the conversation now. And me and my grandma, we had a great time. I'm just a normal person, like you and everybody else. I try to be friendly, to smile, to greet people. And this is how I came to know Jack. That is when I started trying new techniques for making a friend. I observed his therapist. I went on to YouTube videos. I shared him with our friendship group, and we together tried the drawing technique. And with my grandma, I tried something different. When you want to make a friend, all different kinds of friends, just say hello and put in the effort. Then you can make friends with people who have disabilities, people of different ages. Maybe you'll make friends with people who don't even speak your language. The techniques might be different, but the essence of what you have to do is similar to what I did. To use your heart and come up with creative and different ways to connect with them. Remember, making a friend could be as beautiful and as surprising as picking seashells from a beach.